very first health brunch for the year. Super excited today as we're talking all things finance. We're talking just getting your life in order, guys. I mean, it's the beginning of the year, and so many of us fall into the trap of debt. And today we have an exciting panel with us. I have Nicolette Mashile, who needs no introduction.
Well.
She is a presenter. She is an MC. She is a finance entrepreneur. She calls herself the Fitness Bunny.
Yes, the financial fitness bunny.
Let me correct that.
Yes.
The Financial Fitness Bunny. Please just tell us a little bit about what made Nicolette become the Financial Fitness Bunny. Because I did my research.
Yeah.
And found out that you're not in the financial business per se.
No.
Your background is marketing.
Yeah.
How did this come about?
So a couple of years ago, 2016 to be specific, I decided I was ready to buy a house. A 4 million rand house. I mean,
Yes.
I thought I was cute. I was cute. I went to view a house, a beautiful house. It had a walk-in fridge, it had a pajama lounge.
Yes.
It was absolutely a dream, especially for a child that comes from Bushbuck Ridge, where you come from the rural areas, you're a village child, you come to Johannesburg and you are started into these suburbs, everything is green and leafy and kumanati, and I decided, you know what, I'm ready to buy a house, and walked in. House was priced at 4 million rand. I had 1,250,000 rand as a deposit, so I needed to raise 2,750,000 rand. Signed the offer to purchase. The next day, I went to my bank. My bank was like, you can't afford this house. So I called the agent and said, listen, you know what? I actually don't want your house anymore.
Keep it.
She was like, nah, sweetie, it doesn't work like that. She said to me, you need to get all the banks to send you decline letters, and only then will the OTP not be legally binding.
OTP meaning
which is the offer to purchase. Okay. All right, not a problem. She said my bond originator will call you, and you need to submit all your FICA documents and all your payslips, and we're gonna go out and look for a loan for you. They did that. 3 of the major banks rightfully came back to say, listen, you can't afford this house. The bank that actually declined me on the phone, which was my home bank, pushed out an approval of 2,750,000 rand, 9.76, which was the interest rate, but over 30 years. I was going to end up paying 8 million rand.
In interest?
8 million rand with the principal plus the interest. And I had to settle out of court. I settled out of court because they charged me with loss of potential income when the house was taken off the market. So, and that was 125,000 rand to the real estate agent, and still lawyer fees that needed to be paid.
Wow.
That was the one specific moment where I realized that not knowing can become really dangerous, because we've got no one to a reference. You know what I mean? A lot of us, most of us, we grew up in families where our parents built a home.
Yeah.
They didn't purchase, they didn't use financing to buy it. So you've got no one to bounce off ideas with. So you end up literally just going at everything by yourself. Also because money is not something people talk about.
Yeah.
It's a taboo subject. We don't talk about it. You suffer in silence, or you're making your decisions in silence. But do you know what decisions you're actually making? Do you know the impact they've got? I always say money for me is a math sum that you decide on today. Are you plussing? Are you minusing? Are you subtracting? Are you multiplying? Because the answer that's going to come out of the future is the answer that's going to matter. And you've got to ask yourself, what is it that I'm putting together in this formula to push outside? So I think, so that's why I started having conversations about money. It was generally to say, your story and my story are the same. But because we don't talk about them, we can't educate.
Yes.
We can't teach. Most of us are repeat offenders of certain financial mistakes.
Why is that though? Why is it that people don't like, why do you think that people don't like to talk about money?
Because it's a score. It's keeping score. It's status. If I look at, if you and I had to put our bank cards down there, people would be kind of able to tell us how much we earn. Just based on the color of our bank cards. If we put our car keys on the table, people will judge us based on that. So money is a scorecard. It's scorekeeping. But you also know that people treat you differently when they see you driving a certain car, if they think you live in a certain suburb, because they perceive you to have some sort of money. That's the issue. That's why money becomes a very difficult thing to have a conversation. But also because we come from a history where we were have-nots.
Yeah.
When you've been have-nots for a very long time, the moment you get money, money then becomes a thing that validates your existence.
I've made it.
Yes, I've made it, I've arrived, I've got money, so therefore you've got to treat me a certain way.
Now, what then made you think, man, I need to educate the masses? Because I feel like you're doing an amazing job
Yeah, thank you.
in helping just the average girl and guy on the street get money savvy. Because let's be honest, part of the reason why I think so many people struggle with money or finances, it's isn't it a boring subject?
You know, money is very boring. Money's not boring.
Yeah.
The educational side of it.
Yes.
And I'll tell you why. Historically, we've not been educated about money, right? At school, you are being taught, you maybe be taught some sort of financial concepts, but they're not tangible.
Yeah.
So for instance, in 2018, we took kids to the bank with one of the financial institutions. And after taking them to the bank, we had a conversation. I had a conversation with these kids. It's like, maybe I should come to the school and teach you guys saving, budgeting, and all that.
Yes.
And they were like, you're going to teach us something about something we don't have. So it's not tangible to them, right? So I think that's first and foremost. But money also is not sonto. And I think a lot of people try to run away from this. Money is not a numbers thing.
It's not?
It's not a numbers thing.
Then what is it?
Money is about your personality, your relationship with money. Because you've got a money personality. All of us have a money personality, right? And in as much as your money personality will develop as you get older and as you get access to more money, your money personality starts to develop, right?
Yes.
But also at the same time, money is about, there's a lot of barriers that are there. Because, and this is what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
People think that fat people are fat because they don't want to eat less.
Okay.
It's not true. They think that if fat people had more willpower, they'd lose weight.
True.
It's the same thing as we think that if more people who tried with their finances had more willpower, they would be okay.
Yeah.
Now, does that then not invalidate all the research that's done by food technologist companies to make food a little bit more softer and more palatable for you to eat, so you can eat more and more and more? It's the same thing when it comes to money. They've made credit easier. You don't even need to go into a bank now to get credit.
They call you.
You can, sis, you sit with your laptop, it's between you and your maker, and you are there applying for your credit, and it says approved, and you move on. If it says declined, only you and your maker know, you move on with your life. They've made it easy for us to be able to access financing, whether it's credit, whatever it is. So the mere fact that there are other factors that are working towards you and building and structuring your money means that it takes more than just willpower for you to be able to actually fix your finances. It means you've got to have the right tools. You've got to understand. You've got to have the education. Because, for instance, people buying homes. We talk about, everybody talks about, no, you got to buy a home before you buy a car.
Yeah.
That thing is a fallacy.
Why?
It's a flaw.
Why?
You buy what you need. What is the point of you, what are you going to do with a house? You tie yourself in a 20.
But because we see, most of us at school have had the basic financial education where we are taught that there are assets and there are
liabilities.
A car is a liability.
That is the biggest lie you'll
and
ever
then
hear.
an asset, a house is an asset.
First and foremost, Santo, when you finance a house, the house is the asset, the financing is a liability.
True.
Because the financing is a contract that takes money out of your pocket.
True.
The house is the asset. Now, my question, and I always ask this question is, you're 23 years old, right? 23 years old, straight out of varsity or whatever, you've got your degree, you get a salary, and the first thing you go into is a 20-year bond, 20-year commitment. Then what happens is, 2 years later, you've moved up in ranking, now you want a car. Now the bank says you're overcommitted because you've got a 20-year bond. So what do you do now? You start trying to find clever ways to buy the car. You start getting balloon payments, residuals, you are increasing the interest rate, you are elongating the years, and then after 2 years, let's say maybe 18 months later, fall pregnant. Now there's a baby. You see, now you've just increased your credit commitments. But if you just decide, what do I need now? What are my goals? If your goal is to get a better job, is a house going to get you a better job, or is a car going to get you a better job? Because there are jobs that require a car. Sometimes having a car means that you can stay later at work, and you know that's when promotions are being discussed, fam. Promotions don't get discussed during the day when people are working.
Yeah.
They're discussed when the boss is now relaxed.
Yes.
After 5 o'clock, then now it's open door policy. Now you can hear you. Now he knows who you are. But if you're chasing Brie taxi rank, chasing the line at Brie taxi rank because you don't have a car.
Yeah.
Over and above that, we live in a gig economy. You can't have one job anymore.
No.
You've got to have multiple income streams. How do you access those? You need to have a car, whether you like it or not. For you to be able to move from here to, you need to, if you got 3 jobs, let's say you've got a full-time job, then at night maybe you do a presenting gig on radio, and then maybe you do an MC job. You got to move in 3 different places in one night. Are you going to move in your house?
No.
Exactly. You've got to buy the asset that's going to enable you to be able to access economic opportunities.
Wow.
So you've got to, and that's why I say our personal finance is called personal finance for a reason. Yours does not look the same as mine.
No.
It will never.
No.
Because your financial goals and my financial goals look different.
Yeah.
If your financial goal is ownership, you will go and buy a house.
Yeah.
Because remember also, we don't buy homes for the same reasons.
No.
And I think that's the other thing that people don't understand. People think because Gutiwe buy a house, everybody must now buy a house. Don't do that. You're going to make financial mistakes.
Now you touched on you making the biggest financial, I don't know if it was the biggest financial mistake.
Oh yeah, God, it was definitely the biggest financial mistake
that you've ever made.
Yeah.
And how did you bounce back from that?
Look, I speak about this quite a lot. I say it's easier to make financial mistake when you're in abundance. Do you get it? It's easier because I had the money. Remember, I had a 1.2 million rand deposit. So taking out 125,000 rand wasn't really a big dent, but it was a dent nonetheless, because the first rule of money is don't lose money. Don't be silly, don't lose money. So I felt it, but at the same time, it wasn't an economic shock. And that's what we speak about when it comes to personal finances. You need to make sure that, and those, remember what I spoke about earlier on, I said, it's easy to just say fat people are fat because they want to be fat.
Yeah.
Poor people are poor because they want to stay poor. Sometimes it's also the barriers that are existing. Sometimes it's an economic shock that hits you out of the blue, and all of a sudden now you find yourself spiraling. So for instance, if you were to lose, okay, not you because you're an entrepreneur, but anybody who has a 9 to 5, they were to lose their job today, what's the plan? For most people, there is no plan. So now all of a sudden, and some people, because they don't even know any better, they don't know they've got credit insurance. So cars get repossessed. Kids can't go to school. Now all of a sudden you're spinning, because what you then do is you go into temporary loans, you go into your overdraft, you're maxing out your credit card. The moment you do that, credit score gets messed up.
It's a downward
So you're just spiraling. Now you're just spiraling. And that's the thing. The thing is, it's important that you make sure that you can withstand economic shocks. And for me, luckily at that point, I had savings. So that's the other thing. You've got to have your emergency savings in place, because a lot of us don't have emergency savings. So when things like that happen, the first thing we go to is debt.
And it shouldn't be.
And it shouldn't be.
Give us 3, to summarize everything you've said now, give us 3 pointers that you could give people to take to apply throughout this year. What are 3 things that everybody should be doing to make sure that they are financially fit this year?
Can I give you one, and I'm gonna make it good? Okay. I promise.
Okay.
Set your goals, guys. Somebody asked me, why must I save? You will get tired of saving. You will get discouraged in saving if your saving is not attached to a goal or a purpose. It's important to set your goals, because goals essentially are your dreams. I want a private jet. Let me tell you, I'm gonna get my private jet because I've got a plan. What you do is you set your goals, your big dreams, your short-term, your mid-term, and your long-term goals. Now you've got them all sorted out. Your short-term goals, 0 to 12 months. Your mid-term goals, 12 months to 3 years. Your long-term goals, 5 years, 10 years and above. That's your retirement. If you got kids, their school fees and all those things, right? Once you've set up your goals, you then say, what do I have to do every single day for me to be able to reach these goals? And the first thing you've got to do is you've got to make a spending plan. Guys, it doesn't matter who you are, if you don't know where your money is going, you can't account for it. If you can't account for every single rand that goes into your bank account is just a stop sign for money to be put in there. That means nothing is actually happening. Now your goals need to be SMART, and I'm sure you guys have heard the acronym SMART. What? The simple, what's simplistic, M is for measurable, A is for attainable, R is for realistic, and T, there must be a time zone. So if you're saying, I am going to go on holiday at the end of the year, you've got to be able to say, so how much do I need? Where am I going? Let's say I want to go to Mauritius. It's going to take me 10,000 rand to get to Mauritius. Okay, granted. I need 10,000 rand at the end of the year. Then you go and sit with your budget and you start doing your budget, your spending plan. Okay, sharp. This is where I'm spending money. How can I find 1,000 rand every single month to be able to spend? If you find that you're under pressure and you can't save 1,000 rand, then you better find an additional income stream to supplement and give you that 1,000 rand.
There's still next year.
Or there's still next year. But I mean, we want the goal. We want to achieve this goal. So you find an additional income stream. Remember, your additional income stream does not need to be as fancy as your job. It just needs to give you 1,000 rand. Right, now you got 1,000 rand. So now you've got a measurable goal. 1,000 rand, it's realistic because you can make 1,000 rand, right? It's got a time zone or time bargaining hub, whatever, because it's 12 months. I get it. So you've got it all planned out. It's realistic, it's measurable, it's simple. There's your goal.
And no matter what, you stick to it.
No matter what, and if your saving is attached to a goal, if you know good, yay, we're going to Mauritius at the end of the year. If something happens in the year, somebody breaks their leg, oh shame. Oh, sorry, your leg is broken. But if you were saving that money and someone's leg breaks, you are the first person to put up your hand. Oh, I can help. Why? Because that money in your bank account is itchy. It doesn't have a plan. It doesn't have a job. And what do I say? Idle money is bored money, and bored money is gone money.
Wow, thank you so much for that. That was amazing. I think it's nice and sweet and short, but also extremely powerful. And you've given us some good tools to take throughout the year. Now, I want to take a question from our audience.
My name is Numbu. So what I want to ask Nicolette is that how did you recover from this financial thing, you getting into buying a property that you couldn't afford? Because I feel like I made a mistake as well. I took a 20-year bond, and at some point I went through, that's when I started making research that there's actually a better way to purchase a property, unlike binding yourself to a 20-year contract.
So, Nombuso, I think it's important for you to understand that mistakes are not permanent. And if you feel that you made a mistake, you've also got to quantify why you think it's a mistake, right? There's always a better way of buying something. The best way to buy anything in life is to buy it cash. That's the best way, right? But of course, not everybody has got access to huge amounts of money. House is a very big purchase. So we do finance it. And sometimes there are better opportunities that you'd rather tie your money into than tying it into in a house. Now, a 20-year bond, luckily we live in a country where a 20-year bond is not necessarily a 20-year bond. The contract is worked out on a 20-year bond, but you don't have to take 20 years to pay it. So any additional amount that you throw into your home loan is going to be able to assist you. Why? Because when you buy a house, what essentially they're charging you is so it's like you went to the bank and said, I do not have money, but I want to buy a house. So borrow me your money. The bank is like, okay, we can borrow your money, but we're going to charge you. That's how it works, right? So essentially that cost that they charge you is what then makes the prices of houses seem to escalate when you're financing them through an institution. So it's important then to pay the principal amount of money that you owe. So if you pay the bank what you owe them back as quickly as you can, they can't charge you a lot of money because you are actually owing them little as possible. So my biggest tips would be try as best as possible to pay additional monies into your home loan. It will really help you. If you're finding that you're feeling under pressure, go back to the bank and have a conversation. I think the other thing that a lot of us are really afraid of, Sonto, is just having a conversation with the bank, speaking to them and saying, this is my financial status. This is my reality. I need you guys to either ease this for me or I need to move to another bank and refinance this thing. That's really, really important to have an open and honest conversation. At the end of the day, the bank is not trying to trap you. And I know a lot of people have a negative relationship with financial institutions. But banks are not trying to lose their money.
They want you to
They
pay.
want you to pay. So they want to make it as easy as possible for you to pay, because when they assess you, the bank has to comply with the National Credit Act. So banks generally do not participate in reckless lending, especially when it comes to things like home loans. So when they did assess you, they figured out that you were able to afford this thing. If you are finding that you can no longer afford it, or maybe you are actually in a better situation, maybe you've improved your credit score, right? Maybe you've increased your affordability. Maybe you've added an additional income stream. Again, go and speak to the bank. The bank is going to try and keep you as a client before they allow you to go to another financial institutions. You must remember, when banks give us loans, we are essentially their investment vehicles. They look at you and they're like, Sonto's got a business, Sonto can afford to pay us back. Sonto's going to give us 11%. Let's give Sonto a home loan. Let's give Nompus a home loan. So that's important. I advocate for having a conversation, and I advocate for paying extra into your home loan.
I hope, Nombuso, you learned something from there. What I took out of there is have a conversation with your bank.
Yeah.
And if for whatever reason it's not working out, there is an option to refinance with another bank, which is something I didn't know.
Yeah.
But again, and then the third thing I picked up from what you said is if you just pay a little bit more,
Makes a world of difference.
It makes a world. It goes from 20 years to 10, and if you continue that from 10 to 5, before you know it, you've paid everything.
Throw all the free money. You know, we call money that you get given or you receive like a tax refund, a boyfriend, girlfriend allowance. Throw that stuff in there. Throw it in there, because at the end of the day, you want to pay as little interest as possible.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
for sitting with us.
Yay.
What's next for Nicolette?
Sure. Very exciting things that are coming. I've got a game called Save or Spend. It's a board game that's going to be coming up. I've got a book that's coming. I'm quite excited about the book because I've poured my entire heart into it. So I'm quite excited about that. And then we are going to be opening up a new financial fitness body gym.
I'm so excited.
That's going to be that's going to be lots of fun. You can come. We're going to have alcohol so you can drink and talk about your money and vent and cry.
So, but if you don't drink, so can I not come then?
No, you can come. We'll have chips and we'll drink coffee and tea and we'll douse your coffee. But we're going to have fun. We're going to have parties in there. We're going to start stripping away the misconception about money. That's what we want to do.
And just this negative
feeling. And that thing of money, it's a them and us. It's not. Money is integrated. I always say, if you want to know how integrated money is in your life, go to a restaurant and try and just pick a meal without looking at the prices. You will quickly realize, your pocket is going to start speaking. Say, hey, you are eating fish and chips today. You're eating fish and chips because you cannot afford steak.
Thank you so much. Up next, we have Mapalo Maku. Also super excited to have her sit with us as we'll be discussing. She's actually an author, guys, so I'm super excited. Yes. Thank you so much, Nicolette.
Yes.
Until next time.
Mapalo is my sister in finance.
Yes.
Yes.